everybody, welcome. It's Pam with Silver and Sparkles. We're going to do a one-page wonder. This one is so easy. I think you're going to love it. We'll decorate the other one I make a little differently to give you some options, but anyway, I'm using 12 by 12 scrapbook paper, and I will give you all the measurements and the dimensions. Oh, before I open it up, the closure is also a belly band on the back. Isn't that cute? So you've got an option. I guess you could make it a pocket if you didn't want it to be a pass-through, but I like the belly band. Okay, so it opens up like this, and on this little part of the closure, I added a little tuck pocket, and I've got a little one here as well, little journaling spot. Of course, we could have decorated or collaged the front more, but I kind of liked how it looked like that. So it also depends on the scrapbook paper you choose to use, right? And what you're doing there. And then inside there are 4 pockets. They're stacked. So there's one here. This is all one pocket, just with things in there. Some journaling cards. I used some of my paper from my pink clover and lace kit, and I think this was actually from a different kit, but it coordinates. Today we're going to use scrapbook paper and the pink clover and lace kit, which is one I just keep going back to because I love it. You are stronger than you think. So anyway, very easy. If you want to sew a signature in there and make this a little journal, there's just so much you could do with this design, but it's so easy. It's going to be a great one if you need multiple gifts. You want to give something in lieu of a gift card, but you don't have a lot of time, that kind of thing. Comes together really fast. So let's set that aside and I'll show you what to do. So first, take a 12 by 12 piece of paper, and my big cutter's on the other side of the room. So I did the first cut off camera, but you were going to cut on one of the sides at 10 inches. Okay. 10 inches. This is going to become that closure for your folio. Now take the piece that measures 9 by 12 now. So now this one is 9 by 12, and we're going to cut on the 12-inch side at 10 inches. So I'm just going to cut 2 inches off. Okay, like that. And then this piece we are going to cut. It's 2 inches by 9 inches. We're going to cut it at 4.5 inches, and then we'll cut it and trim it a little bit to make the pockets, or 2 of the pockets anyway, inside. All right, we have a little bit of scoring. I'm going to use my scoreboard. Now this piece of paper is 10 by 9. It's almost a square, so just pay attention that you're on the 10-inch side first, because we are going to score it at 7 inches. Okay, so 7 inches. And then on the 9-inch side, we are going to score at 4.5. All right. And then we're also going to score this one. So let's go ahead and get it ready. On that 12-inch side, you want to score the 3-inch by 12-inch piece at 3 3/4 and at 8 1/4. Okay, and I believe that's all of our scoring. So all I'm going to do now is, oh, it's not my favorite bone folder. I have a favorite bone folder. We'll use this one. I'm just going to crease. Now this one that becomes the closure, I'm not doing a hard crease. You can, but I'm just going to leave it like this for now. It seems to wrap a little bit better if you don't really push that down. Okay, now this one I'm going to do hard creasing on all the scores. Okay, so I'm so glad you guys decided to spend a few minutes with me today. I'm glad you're here. I would love for you to subscribe if you haven't already to my channel. If you're one of my regular viewers, you guys make me so happy. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and drop me a comment. That's always nice. Now, before you worry if this isn't exactly perfect, we're actually going to trim just a little, but first we're going to work on these pockets. And so you can more easily see what I'm doing. I'm going to go ahead and just ink on these score lines so I can show you. All right. So a lot of times I'll just take my scissor and just eyeball it. But if you don't want to eyeball it, an option is to take your ruler. I was hoping I had a pencil. Here we go. And make a mark. I'm going to do mine on the left-hand side. It doesn't really matter, but at 1/4 of an inch. And then we're going to come from this point right here where your two creases intersect, put your ruler, and just draw a line, okay, to help you. Now, fold it over and hold your paper, and we're going to cut right across that line, just right up to the score line. You really can eyeball it if you want to, but for people that aren't as comfortable with eyeballing, there you go. Now, these are going to fold up and make 2 of the pockets. These pieces we're going to trim just a touch and make into the second pocket on the layers. So again, I'm going to take my pencil. Let me see which way I want this pattern to go. I really love this scrapbook paper. I got it at the scrapbook store in Pigeon Forge. That's their clearance center is closing. So, all right, I'm going to come over. I'm just picking a point, but it's about 1/8 of an inch, okay? And then I'm going to mark, again, about 1/8 of an inch on the angle where this pocket is. This will make sense in just a second. And again, we're going to just draw a line so that this angle, let's just cut it off and you'll see it should make more sense. This angle now lines up and matches there. You see a little bit of my pencil. I'm going to erase it. So let me do the other one and try to be a little more clear with the instructions. So lay your piece of paper down. This is where we cut it, where we cut the 2 strips from the, what was it, 2x10 piece, okay? I'm leaving just a little border on that edge. And then at the bottom, this corner right here, I'm just marking what is about 1/8 of an inch. And I'm holding it where I know I'm going to want it to be, and where this line is from this pocket. See if there's something I can use to point that out. Right here, okay? I'm going to just come over 1/8 of an inch and make a little mark. And then when I connect those two, we'll have an angle that matches our pocket, and we'll cut it. Now, the other option after you do one, this one's done, is we could have flipped this one over and used it as a template. Okay? And then you only have to do all that measuring and marking once. And it should fit in here pretty good. Doesn't have to be perfect. And if you don't want to do the angle, you could just cut a tiny sliver and then have rectangular shaped pockets if that is not something you want to spend time on. All right. Now I'm just going to ink everything and get it ready to glue. And then I'll show you how we're going to attach the closure. Okay, I told you this is a really, really simple beginner-friendly one. I do think taking the time, you know, to do the pocket this way does make it look, you know, a little more finished perhaps. But what a great mask make. Or if you really want to use up some of your 12 by 12 papers and then decorate them with things that you really like and that are pretty, you know, you really can layer a lot on here if you have some that aren't your favorites. I happen to love this one, especially with the pink and green, the pink and clover kit, but there we go. All right, now this is what I was also going to show you. I haven't glued these down yet. If you close yours and it's just a little off, you can trim it. But to make this work even better, see how it sort of doesn't quite fit, it doesn't quite buckle? I just took a tiny sliver off of mine. Now you can make that closure work without doing this. It is optional, but I just found everything came together a little bit easier with that little sliver. Again, totally optional, your choice, but I'll show you now when I hold my closure on here. See, it's just that much better. You can decide which way you want your closure to flap. Now, it would have helped if I hadn't spent time inking that before I decided to show you guys the snip. And again, sometimes just taking those little bitty shavings off, it doesn't change really the size of your project, but it certainly will make everything fit together just a smidge better. Now, I hope these aren't too long, and if they are, because of the smidge I took off, take your smidge off first, right? We're just going to trim these off too. A smidge. Sorry about that. Before I did all the smidges first. Now, when I say a smidge, that's really all it needs. Is a little bitty smidge. All right, let's get our pockets glued, and then we'll work on that closure. So use whatever glue you like. I am using Lineco brand PVA glue. This is my favorite everyday glue. I've talked about it many times. I was going to share on my YouTube posts, you know, in the YouTube community. All we're doing is adding glue along each of these edges to close our little folder up, the pocket up. I added a link because it is Amazon Prime Days, and there's a good deal on the Lineco glue if you wanted to try it. So that is there, and you can pop over and find it. If you can't find it, let me know, and I'll copy it for you. Okay, and I'm just going to glue these guys down. So hold it on the side you want to keep open. And I'm going to, you can do just the two sides like this. I'm going to go ahead and close these up to make this pocket a little more snug. I think I'll like that a little better. And then same thing here. Hold it on the side you want to keep open. Glue on the other sides. All right. There we go. Okay. I do want to go ahead and ink my... I haven't been calling this a belly band. I've been calling it a closure, but the way we're going to glue it down leaves it open as a belly band on the back. Again, that's optional, but I thought it looked kind of neat. We might see this when it opens just a little, so I'm going to go ahead and ink that crease. Now this section we definitely will not see the back of. All right, so let's position this where we want it. And my paper doesn't really have a direction, but if yours does, of course, you may want to pay attention to that. And again, it can close with the right flap on top, or it can close with the left flap on top. All right. But the big thing is, all we want to do is add glue just to the right of this score line and just to the left of this one, just like that. And then I'm doing mine not quite centered this way, but you definitely want to lay this down where you're not crossing over on either side the score line, and then everything fits nicely. Okay, and that's it. So easy. Now, I did add ribbon to mine, and we may do that, or we may do a different kind of closure this time. I'm going to think about it as we go. I'll show you here. All I did was glue a piece of this like fabric strip ribbon. I showed you guys that if you watched that video of some of the things I got on a craft haul. And I did layer, you know, this little piece over it. But, you know, I thought it looked really cute like that. But you don't have to do that kind of closure. So we'll do something maybe a little different this time, or at least a different ribbon or something. Okay, and that's it. If you want, you could do a Velcro closure. We could put set an eyelet and do a ribbon closure like that. That might be fun. So many options. So let's think about some of our decorations. So like I said, I'm going to use some pieces. I have some cut out and ready to go, but I am going to use some pieces from this pink clover and lace kit. Now, I thought one of these tags, I haven't mounted it or anything, but would be really cute tucked back here. And because this is kind of a large belly band, I could have brought the glue over it a little bit to make it more snug, or I could mount this on cardstock and make it a little bit thicker, but I think it's okay. I mean, I think it's fine. So for right now, I'm just going to tuck it there to just look at it or think about it. Now, one thought I had is I don't know how it would look if, depending on what I decorate here with, it might be fun to have this just mounted on the front so you see the tag peeking. No. I might do that. I am going to cut or punch the hole out. This is a faux ribbon, and I can get really fancy. I'm not going to use that because it's kind of a messed up one, but I don't know if this is real fancy or not, but I am going to cut this out too. I didn't do that when I was cutting ephemera out, but just to make it look a little more authentic. And I have also used these tags where I just cut that off and then put a real piece of ribbon or something on there. So again, lots of options for you. But if you want something to stay kind of flat, like use this as a happy mail, it is nice to have option. You know, I'm going to do it. I'm going to glue it down. A lot of times I'll wait to glue anything down until I really look at what I'm doing. But you know, today we're just going to go for it. So I'm just going to add glue on the back of my tag. Now I do want, I liked, even though it kind of leaves the bottom here, it lining up with the lace there. I just thought that was pretty. And we get a peek of the roses at the top. Cute. All right, so that one doesn't move and come in and out. This one does. Very cute. And then let's think about something for these two pockets here, and then I'll think about that flap. So there are pockets that come in this kit, you know, and they're not the right size, but I used one, I don't know if I want to use that one. I used one on the other by just making it like a little tuck spot, and it was really cute. So let me see what I've got here. Already cut out is kind of my point, or what I'm trying to accomplish. Okay, so instead of angling this one, I'm just going to lay my ruler right here, and I'm going to do that, and we're going to make this into a little side tuck spot. A little bit more kind of torn looking, and I could have used the actual tear ruler. Okay. Which way do I want to mount it? I think I'm going to mount it this way. So again, super easy. You can use any papers you like. Oops. I put glue on the side I was holding open. So guess what? We're going to mount it this way. Oh, Pam. I don't know why I did that. I was even holding it the correct direction. So now we'll have some little pieces that slide in like that. Just set that there for right now. Now, I really did like having a journaling spot. I just used some neutral paper, but for this one, what if we kind of tear this little journaling card out to work? We'll do our best to cut it to approximately the right size, or tear it to the right size. Yeah, that'll just be a little different. And I'm using my vintage photo distress ink. It's distress oxide. Okay. So if you guys are still with me and watching me decorate, tell me what you are currently working on. What projects do you have going on? Or are you watching videos to get inspiration for your next project? I do that a lot. And then, you know, the juices start flowing and it's fun to see what happens next. Okay, what do I want on the front? I might this time do a little collage or something. Let's see. There's a butterfly that would look pretty. I don't know. We might do that. I also want to think about the closure. I kind of liked the idea of setting an eyelet and then maybe doing a piece of seam binding. Ooh, that's what I wanted to show you guys, was my new seam binding that I have up on Etsy. We'll do that in just a second. All right. I am going to, you know what, I'm going to reinforce it a little bit too. I definitely don't want to punch whatever I have in that pocket. Just to make this look a little more finished, let's do that. So let me find, and maybe it's this piece right here. Of course, I have all those fun lace pieces and everything that come with this kit. Where is it? It's like one of my favorite pages ever. I've been using it a lot. Right here. I'll just use this piece, but I have this, and it's like I said, a favorite piece. All right, we're going to wrap this around. And if you don't want to wrap it around, you could just put a piece, but let's fold it approximately in half. And I don't think I'm going to worry about making it like a tab or anything. I could, but I'm just going to glue it down, and then we're going to punch a hole and set the eyelet in it. Okay? So, just trying to give you guys options for decoration. But I do like the ribbon I did on the original. I think that was a fun option too. So now I'm just going to punch the hole, hopefully about in the center. Okay. And then we're going to set the eyelet. Now these are eyelets I've told you guys about before. I get them on Amazon. They're not the We Are Memory Keepers brand. I have trouble finding those, but they do set really well with the crocodile, or the big bite anyway. For me, that love-hate relationship with my crocodile, right? So if that's something you're interested in, they are in my Amazon storefront, and I will also try to remember to link them for you. All right, let's see how this was looking. Maybe a couple of pieces. I don't know if I want strips or what these flowers look like back here. Let's get a smaller piece. I know I had this tucked in the pocket, but now I'm going to use it to help us make a little scrappy collage here. Bring some of that yellow in. Oh, my nose is itching today. We've had a lot of rain, which we desperately needed. We are under, it's not mandatory, but they've requested us voluntarily not, use as much water. You know how I am about, I've got to replace this, you guys. About having an odd number. That's why I keep messing, but I may count the eyelet as the third thing, or that little section here, because I don't know. It feels like it's almost too much. I don't know. Well, kind of like it there. All right, I'm just going to start gluing down and we'll see. And if you want, put a little pocket on here. Yeah, I'm going to just glue it down. Hopefully I'll like how that ends up. I love a fussy cut. I have talked to you guys about how when I'm busy, I'm sometimes like, okay, I don't have time for this. But I just enjoy cutting out all the little pieces. So a lot of my kits have lots of fussy cuts because of that. Okay. Now, seam binding, I will, of course, this is what I do, is I keep kind of all the little offcuts and pieces for me to play with and show you guys the colors. I'll grab a couple of the sets and show you guys. Let's see. Let's see if I have it. I'm sorry. I know you guys are hearing the crinkling, but I wanted to get them for you. Now, the kit, they all have fun names. And of course, I just took them out of the little bags that have their names. But I think I have 6 new mixes. This is the neutral one. Okay, so it's like kind of just all the neutrals. But I gave it a fun name like Harvest and Meadow or something. I don't know. Here's one that's, I think, Blush or Blush Rose, something like that. Blush Love. I know the word blush is in there. And I've got, let me get the names because that's going to make me crazy. Let's see. Blush and Bloom was the pink one. All right, Vintage Posies. Which one is Vintage Posies? This one is Vintage Posies, and it kind of has that chartreuse color in there. It's so pretty. And Moss and something. What did I call that? Why can't I remember? Moss and Morning Mist. Moss and Morning Mist. Prairie Summer. And then this one, I think you guys are going to love, and its name is Wildflower Cottage. But what I should have named it was Garden Whispers, because I think it's going to coordinate really well with my Garden Whispers collection. But anyway, some of the colors in the mixes are a little bit similar, like the greens, that kind of thing, but they're all different. And I've already sold, I put these up yesterday, 4 of each kind, and some I already only have like 1 or 2 left of, but I have more. I just haven't packaged it yet, but as soon as it's ready, I'll add quantities to these. I think I have enough, I'm going to guess, for 6 or 8 more of each mix. So I don't know. I don't know if that's what you guys wanted to see, but I thought I'd share. I'm seeing the yellow here, and there wasn't much those yellows. Now this is pretty. I was trying to go different just from the pink and the green. This is that chartreuse, and I love it, which is kind of a green. That was in the Vintage Posies set. Okay, I'm thinking, I don't know if it's going to be big enough. I think it will. Now, in those mixes, I did, what did I do? I did a yard of 7 different, each one has 7 different colors, so 7 yards total. And I haven't decided, I may do like 12 inches of quite a few colors and do a little mix, because I do have more offcuts that aren't a yard. So anyway, I'm thinking about that. I haven't decided yet. I don't usually sell the shorter lengths, but if that's something you think you would like, 'cause you don't always need a yard, let me know and I'll give that some thought. But anyway, I just have to find time to get everything packaged up. All right, I was just sliding that over. I think I'm going to like this. So all I did, was loop it in like it's the topper to a tag. But I'm trying to leave this piece long enough that I can tie a cute little bow here. And I think as long as I adjust it one more time, it's going to be really good. All right. Sometimes you just have to mess with things a bit. And sometimes, Pam, guess what? It's easier to just pull it out like this. Pull it out and make your tail longer. And then pull it back through. Okay, I got it this time. And when we're done decorating, I will tie that cute bow and show you guys again. Okay? So cute. All right. Pocket tuck spot. I've got a journaling spot. I'm going to do another little pocket here, but what I want to do is whatever I choose, to make the pocket, I want to make sure I like how it looks on the front if I bring it over that far. So another good option is selecting one of these like that. And if you don't want to see it, but I kind of like that pink gingham showing. Let's get some ink on it and see what we think. Yeah, that'll be sweet. Okay, here we go. And I think I said this, but anyway, this seam binding, if you're new, it is in my Etsy shop, and I will link it for you in the video. Okay, we'll tuck some things in there in a moment. I kind of want to add something here. So let's see what it would look like. Again, I know I keep flapping it around, but if I'm going to put something else on, I want to make sure I like how it looks on the front as well. I do kind of like that butterfly there. I think he goes better here because of the bird. Okay. Just to give it a little more something. We could also do one of the words or the word strips. Yeah, I like that. That was a little not quite coming together for me. I love these. Let's see. The word. Let's see. There's so many good ones on this. Be still and know. Let your faith be bigger than your fear. Made to bloom. Be brave. Bloom where you're planted. Have courage. Be still. You can do hard things. That's one of my favorites. Collect beautiful moments. With God, all things are possible. See, we got lots of good ones on here. let's see. I feel like I need a short one. How about stay hopeful? Okay. And then it's just going to be tucking a few things. We'll have to find some things, but into those pockets. And it's really, I'm going to tear that off and make it even shorter. Yeah, we'll put it right there. So it really is a nice one, I think, for like Happy Mail or a little gift. If you decide to use it instead of a greeting card, you could write a note or have some pictures or something in there and then have a gift card. I mean, again, possibilities are endless. Had a little glue. Oh, and on my other one, I decorated these using some of these strips. Let me just show you that real quick because that was pretty fast and easy. All right, I'm going to use my tear ruler instead of trying to cut it out to make it look like ribbon scraps or fabric scraps. So I've got that piece. I definitely want this piece. And I'm going to need, if I do it like I did the sample, I'm going to need like 4. So we'll just get 4. And then we'll just tear them to the correct length. And then don't want, probably maybe a green. I was thinking about doing the pink again, but let's see how the green looks. I like those polka dots. All right. Oops, I almost threw the wrong piece away. I know, I have a big mess on my desk. A big mess. I don't know, it makes me happy though. Do you guys like, I don't know. I mean, I don't want everything to always be a mess, but when I'm doing this kind of crafting, I don't mind. It kind of gives me options and things to look at. Doesn't really matter which side I use to help me figure out how long I need these to be. Okay. The first time I tore that, I did not tear it really quite where it needed to be. All right, let's add a little ink. Again, optional. You could leave the pockets, and depending on your paper, depending on what you choose for your scrapbook paper to make the folio, it doesn't matter. Now, I also want to point out, a lot of people sometimes say, well, I don't have 12 by 12 paper, or the opposite. I don't do digitals and I don't have 8.5 by 11, right? So the 8.5 by 11 or A4 if you're not in the United States, if you have scrapbook paper, you can just cut it to the size, right? And then keep going with the project. With the, but when you need the bigger pieces, it's a little harder to go back and forth. This particular project though, because of how I cut the paper, you could make with digitals. So like the full size sheets that come in this kit, you could use that instead of scrapbook paper, because you end up, your biggest piece is 9 by 10. Oh, this though, well, you could piece it together or not have it overlap as much. This piece is still 12 inches long, but it would still, if you made it 11 instead of 12, if you took a 1/2 inch, just imagine both of these being a 1/2 inch shorter, it would work. So instead of on a 12-inch strip, you could do an 11-inch strip, right? So something to think about. Something to think about. Okay, I'm just going to get this decorated with this particular one. But I had this gorgeous scrapbook paper I wanted to use. And this one over here. Didn't really, and of course then it's still the one-page wonder, right? If you use your smaller paper, you're going to need more than one piece to make everything work. Okay. Glue. That's fun. Okay, so now it's finding things that you want to put in your pockets. I do think it looks nice because of the height of this one, you know, to have some taller things in those back pockets, but I haven't done anything with these yet or inked them or added ribbons, but that's all something that can happen, right? But maybe to have something a little taller. I don't know what I have prepped, honestly, or already cut out. Let's see. Oh, be strong and courageous. We could decorate pocket, or I could just tuck that in here. I sort of liked I have lots of little pieces. Oh, we've got to do these. So let's put some little pieces in here. Yeah. You definitely want something here and here. What was I saying? I don't know. Oh, we could put a word on the inside if we want to. I think I'm going to leave this one, though, because I have a word on the outside of this one. Not that you can't have, you know, in my mind, you can't have too many words, right? Not sure which kit these polka dots came from. Sometimes things start running together when you're working with a lot of different paper kits. But there, we'll just tuck that in there for right now. Again, some writing paper, a letter, anything you want. Like that. So cute. And don't forget on the back. Now you could also decorate the belly band on the back if you want to. But let me show you how it's going to close. And we will pull the other one out and take a quick look for those of you that decided to fast forward to see how it ended. And I understand that desire sometimes to see the one we're making. I try to have one. I know I don't always, but on my bigger videos like this, I try to have a prototype so you know ahead of time, okay, if you're going to watch this video, this is what we're going to make. Okay, so this was the one, and of course this ties into a bow on the side as well, but that I showed you guys at the beginning. It's a little more plain. Beautiful. See, oh, I put a little embellishment here and a word strip here. So again, that can still happen on the other one. And I'll tie the bow to remind you guys what this one looked like. A little bit different style ribbon and thickness. And this one is attached by gluing it, and then I glued it to this side and laid this over. So it's, you know, it's not a loose ribbon. And then this one. So this is the one we made together. It unties like that. We have a pocket, a journaling spot, a collage, and then the 4 pockets inside. All right. This definitely needs some ink, doesn't it? Okay, thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this one-page wonder, and you'll be back for some other videos soon, or go back to my library and look at some of my old stuff. There's a lot there, especially if you're new and you've missed some things. Take care, everybody. Until next time, thank you so much.